Hey, is it
Hey,
working?
I'm
Fireplace.
hearing you.
I'm hearing you as well, but is everybody else hearing us? That's the question.
I completely
Did you link
those
Twitch?
announcements. I put in Twitch.
Ah, no, we don't use Twitch anymore. We don't like Twitch
No,
anymore.
no.
Whoa, focus. Yes. Hey, Calder. I just realized we completely forgot to turn on music. We spent so long setting up the audio.
Dun dun
Dun
dun.
dun
Okay, you'll
dun. Can you send me
still
a link
still
for
still
like
possible.
yeah, can you send me a link for like the because isn't there like some first time today, look in the mirror.
Yeah,
Isn't
there's
there like a
art
link
list.
for?
Art list.
Okay, we got the critical questions right away. Do you like soggy bread, as in bread dipped in water? No, no. I actually had very nice bread today. I went to a small bakery nearby and had very nice, fluffy, crunchy French baguette, which is much better than soggy bread. That's what I can. The two most handsome CEOs. There's only one CEO, Tony. Okay, let's do like video check, audio check. How is Kale, can you say something so that we can check?
I'm saying something right now. Did you lower my volume yet, or?
Well, that's what I'm asking.
Okay, you have to
How is
probably
it?
lower my volume. If it's peaking red,
It's collab cam
it's
seems
def.
to be yellow.
Yeah.
I think I'm self a little.
Okay.
Wait, my microphone is a little bit low. This would be better.
Seems well balanced.
Seems
That's what
well
we're getting.
balanced.
So
Okay. Well,
yeah.
then I shouldn't actually put it too close. Call this camera's kind of autofocusing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
The
probably because the
light.
light in my background also. Let me turn it off. Hold
Uh, so I assume we have a Wooting account for this. Yes. Okay.
I don't have a good light for my in front of me, so and there's a lot of
Calder
daylight
sounds like
shining
he's in
behind
the
me still.
microwave.
I sound like oh, that's not good. I think maybe you do have to lower me a bit down. I don't know if it's like bricking me.
Let's see. Can you say something? I mean, it seems
I'm
fine.
saying something.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah. Let me, yeah,
Yeah.
do that a little bit. Okay, let's see. Open a big white empty bag in front of you. Oh, that's actually. Okay, let's
No,
go.
that's a
Music.
good idea. But look, I reduced the light on the wall, and now it's already compensating. Now there's a lot more light in front of me.
How are we feeling? Mood, uplifting, powerful, exciting, carefree, gracious, dramatic. Can I just
What is
do?
that for? Oh, for the art
Yeah,
list
art
music,
list.
right?
Like,
Yeah.
what do you normally pick? Just
Very
go.
uplifting, of course.
Okay, okay, let's go
No, I always go
uplifting.
for
And if it's too
jazzy.
distracting, we'll switch it up. Whoa. Okay. Okay.
And it's probably louder than you have to
Yeah,
reduce
I know this is very
the volume quite a lot.
loud. No, this is not dramatic music. Epic, powerful, loud. Okay. Oh, sorry. Let's do groovy. Let's do groovy. Okay.
That's-
We'll just put this very quiet. Whoa, this is very distracting.
While you fix the music, I'm gonna
Yeah, I
bring in
mean,
the real heavy topics. What's
it needs to be way lower. Yeah, I'm trying, but then. Oh, okay, okay. Live chat on stream froze. Oh boy,
no?
this is. Calder sounds like a microwave. Why is it frozen?
Then a microwave that was before.
Yeah, but then I'm wondering why it's frozen.
Oh yeah.
Is he live right now? Wait, oh wait, this is this is a sample chat.
I see the chat's still moving, I think. Yeah.
Is it still moving in? Is this way too loud?
Doopy.
It's very quiet for me. Yeah, this is. Oh boy. Okay, I think what I can do is maybe lower the desktop audio and then increase color a little bit. Music is fine now. Oh, see, that's what I thought. Then I'll revert this. Hey yo, let's go. The live telling teams is really slow. Okay, according to Sander. Okay, well that's fine. I mean, we can read it live right here. Whew. Okay, well that was a smooth setup for Wooting
Well,
standards.
I
So
think it's at least it's working now. So, what is the plan for today's live stream?
today's live stream, we have no plan.
Oh my gosh!
And there's I mean, we could talk about maybe the reason why we have no plan. I guess that's also sort of the biggest thing to talk about, right? And no, that does not start with a T, K, or an L. It's more about all the leaks. No, today we're gonna have no leaks. Are we gonna have leaks? Maybe.
Don't know yet. Well, probably not. I don't have any. Maybe only
Oh, new colors for Wooting cold cable.
only these new colors for the Visvest.
Oh, well, that's also a good leak.
Yeah. Did I? Was this one not shown yet? Yeah. So I just had to let's put the record straight. Here's a leak.
Good.
There we go. But I think we can think of a couple topics. I think there's one topic when it comes to there's a video going to come out today. I just need to write some text for it about the state, the current, like
Yeah,
general
that's the
Wooting
main thing I was
update.
referring to earlier. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one thing we can talk about in general, and that one is a general update about how things are going right now, and also essentially about why tickets are going slow and these shipping estimates are shifting, and what's going on in that department. Then we have maybe the module. We can already share a bit what we plan to do with the module and the launch of the module because of that. And then, is there a product development that we want to share?
Yeah, there's some color. I mean, somebody already asked about the colors for the cables. There's some other color things we're working on. I saw some pictures for earlier this week. I don't know if we can talk about that. But then that's also, I mean, we don't have much to show there, but then that's also something that's coming up.
Yeah, we can talk about colors in general. What we're trying to do with colors also.
And of course, as always, if you have any questions, leave them in the chat. We'll probably try to focus a lot of time on questions today.
Yeah. So, want to do a sandwich? A question sandwich?
Yeah. Let's do some questions, right? Calder, silicone sandwich or foam for the Alamaze case with the PC plate? You should do both. That's
No, somebody actually, believe it or not, somebody did install it with both in the PC plate.
That does not work.
And then found out that it's way too thick. And the PC plate was like,
oh,
both. But no, you can't install both of them. You have to choose between one of the two. Honestly, my current keyboard is now installed without foam or without silicone, and only the foam underneath the module, with the PC plate, of course. I don't have a really strong preference just yet. I'm testing a couple of different things. So I've also tape modded my 60, but I don't really have a good control group, so I'm not sure yet if it made that much of a difference. I have tape modded a different keyboard that we're working on, and there it made a huge difference, which is very surprising. So we're probably going to do something with that for the final. Then, yeah, what I would generally recommend is if you want to go more silent, it's a silicone, and if you want to just want to lower those higher pitches, go for the foam. That is my general recommendation. But if you want to have a bit more sound in your keyboard, I would just put nothing in between, and consider things like a tape mod or something that is way much more light when it comes to modding. And if you want more lower frequencies, I would even recommend you to not put any foam underneath the module, and otherwise to put foam underneath, but kind of limit where you fill it up, or put something much thinner underneath. Because the lower frequencies are also generated by the case.
But then if you do the no foam in between, I assume you also have the fully looped switches and stabilizers, right?
Well, in all cases, lubricating the switches is going to reduce the noise it makes by a lot, and it's also going to kill a lot of that high frequency that the switch generates, which is like that slam on the PC case and the top case. So that is, in general, highly recommended to lubricate them. Yeah, and you can do lazy style lubrication. It works really well. I've done it now with my keyboard as well.
Did we make a video about that? I guess we did, right?
Not lazy style lubrication. No, we should actually make a video about that.
Yeah.
It's really effective. Yeah, but so basically you don't need to open a switch and you can lubricate them.
How does it work again? That sounds like something that could actually work for me.
Let me grab some tools.
I've seen some magnetic switches other than the Lekker also manufactured by Gateron. Are those compatible with the Wooting? The one that Gateron has made, I think, are compatible, but then there's of course no guarantees. But then in general with magnetic switches, it's like the magnet needs to be the same direction, but also the same or similar strength of the magnet. So it's very dependent on the switch. It's not like we have a list of stuff that we support or anything. We just recommend to just use the Lekker switches for the best performance.
Turn off my desk. I have very little light here, so I don't know how it's going to show things.
Please sounds the Philippines. I think we're still looking at doing Philippines and then more focused on what was it again? Just a few shipping methods or something. But then
didn't I activate Philippines? I think I activated Philippines again with UPS.
Maybe Mark knows. I think Mark's watching, right? Mark, if you happen to notice, then I saw Mark earlier. Yeah. Somebody ping Mark.
Okay.
Please, okay.
Let me show you some quick lazy lubing.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
Without the lubricant itself.
Maybe I can.
But basically, yeah, you can't really see very. I can't zoom it in. I don't want to take off the camera, but I can't really zoom it in.
Wait, I can make you bigger and then zoom in. Okay, do it.
Okay, so basically, you use the what is that called? IC picker or the pincer, whatever you're using, to push down the stem. You grab your brush with lubricant on there, and you just brush straight into the rail here. Pom pom, in one side, and then you do the other side, dum dum. That's it.
And how much lube do you use for this?
I like my switches lubed pretty heavily, so I just I'm not shy to lube it a bit more and not do just dip it every time. But I would otherwise recommend to just do dip, brush on the edge, right? So it's not like completely stuffed, and then do the lube. And if you want some extra dampening, right, you have to make sure that it's lubricated on this top area.
Right,
so don't miss out that spot.
It comes back, where it hits.
Yeah. And because I like it heavily lubed, I even did like here on the top, so like this.
Yeah.
But that you don't need to do that. And then if you want to take it a step further, tweezers, that's the word. If you want to take it a step further, you take out the whole module. I don't have one. Do I have one at hand here? I don't have one at hand here, but let me grab a switch. Once you take out the whole module, you just have to screw out the PCB, and then you have a switch plate with all the switches on there, which I used to have here, but not now. Oh, here. Here we go. See, I have here a switch plate with all the switches. You just turn it around, put it in front of you, and you just lubricate in every hole where the magnet is. Boop, 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 boop.
Oh, so you kind of do a two-pronged approach, like you do it just approach from the top.
That's like the bonus.
Right.
That's the bonus one. That's lazy style lubrication, and then you're done within.
You're gonna go back.
I don't know how long I did again. Maybe an hour. Less than an hour. I forgot how long it took me, but it saves a lot of time.
Yeah. Oh, it's Calder, you don't understand. Lubing is such a relaxing activity. It's so much fun. You can sit down, you can open every single switch. Wow, you can spend 4 hours, listen to some music. You don't understand.
Well, I generally agree with this. I would usually listen to some kind of podcast. I do feel that it should be limited to lubricating maybe at best 2 hours, because otherwise it just starts to become a pain in the neck. But this time it was when you have a ClickCon the next day and it's the night, right? And you definitely don't want to be spending 3 hours lubricating switches. So what you do instead, lazy style.
At least I look to it, see now in Jeroen Camp now. Yes, good. Will you sold the PCB separately? Yes, mostly with the module that we were supposed to. Well, we could talk about that a bit now. So there's this what we call the module that we're working on, which is basically a separate PCB mostly, but just think keyboard without case, without switches, without keycaps, and we were planning to launch that the end of October. Well, we were planning to launch it for a while actually, but then end of October was kind of the date range we specified. But especially because like lately we've been shipping so many keyboards, our customer service has just been super overloaded. And we also had the OO delivery as well on top. That also required a lot of software development as well to make everything ready. And yeah, we just kind of decided that if we also launch the module, like even though we're ready to launch specifically the campaign, not necessarily delivery is still a little bit later, not that much later, but not the end of the month or anything. But then to also launch the campaign would just be too much. Like we were afraid that the development required is too much for the developers, and also like the additional questions and all the load on customer service as well. So we decided to pause that for about 2 weeks, and then focus all of our attention on resolving tickets, which is something we've been starting to do since yesterday. We've already been able to get down a huge chunk, but that will be the complete focus for next week as well.
So if anybody has a ticket open with us and they're waiting, right?
Yeah.
It should be that by next, I think by Wednesday we'll probably make it. Depends on if there's any kind of big inflow, but
yeah,
we should have answered everybody. And of course, there are tickets that are just ongoing, right? That we're just going back and forth more rapidly in general.
Yeah.
But by the end of next week, it should be the case where we've kind of completed the big wave and everything should be a bit more under control.
Yep.
And then we can continue with the regular schedule again.
Yep. And module will, of course, be ISO supported as well. So we're going to launch with Unseen ISO, and there might be a third layout coming as well, but I'm not sure when. Because we wanted to put it in, and Calder was like, no, wait. And so I'm not sure exactly what the status of that one is, but then
well, you mentioned it, and it got me confused because I started to doubt if we actually opened the mold for it or not.
Oh,
but I don't think we opened the mold for it.
Shit.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, if you've been following Twitter recently, then you might have a good guess like what that third layout would be. There's not that many layouts remaining, so but yeah, that's also something we're working on. It Calder just disappeared. Wait, what happened? Collabcam Calder. Show on stream. Hey, you're back.
Oh, did I disappear? Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's like what sometimes that just kind of. Also, to be clear, this is all about the module project, not any new keyboards. Yeah. That's still later.
Yeah, and the module's been also, we've been working on it for way too long. But yeah, there's actually a big with the module. We had to change quite some things on the electronic board, and that kind of opened up a lot of new things that we were not exposed to before, and that also made it take longer than we were expecting.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's really helping us now with the follow-up keyboard also.
True. Yeah. A lot of people are asking about the module price. Can we talk about that?
I don't see a big problem to talk about
pricing?
Price in general, because it still should all compute to the thing we talked about. I just don't remember what. Yeah, the strategy is there, but it's not like, let's just say, it's not final.
Yeah, I don't think we can name any numbers, but then I think if you, let's say you take a module. Yeah, I think the only thing you can assume is like if you take a module and you add separate switches and you add separate keycaps, the price will be, let's see, yeah, about the same as the normal 68C assembled version, or maybe at some point even a little tiny bit higher.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah. In general, the idea is that we want to make sure that if you go for only the module, you're saving cost.
Yes.
And in most cases, you'll still need the switches. So if you add the switches, it's going to be close to what now is a 6-stage ISO keyboard, which is already
No keycaps, yeah.
no keycaps assembled with switches.
Yeah.
And then if you do choose to go for one of our keycaps, that comes on top of it. But if you then compare like a complete module with an assembled 6-stage keyboard that we have, you would be paying a small premium in comparison for the being able to customize. And that premium, we use that premium to pay for all the separate packaging basically, because that's the increase in cost. And
screw-in stabilizer.
Well, in general, the module also has some different materials, and like the PC plate, it has the silicone pad already in there. It has a foam pad in there.
Yeah.
It has extra foam for your aluminum case that you might have, whichever brand it is. And it also has then the screw-in stabilizers. Yeah. Yeah, and the screw-in stabilizers are actually pretty expensive. I'm still surprised how expensive screw-in stabilizers are.
Yeah, it feels a little bit of a...
It's a bit of a rip-off, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, they're worth it for a keyboard. They're worth it, but
when you say rip-off,
price they're selling it for is a rip-off.
Yeah, it sounds like it's like only a select few companies have a mold, and they kind of price fix. They kind of keep the price high.
Yeah. So feel it's a bit of a little bit bullshitty.
Interesting. Talking about tickets, my IRL friend said he was having a bad day and had a shipping issue and went ballistic on your support ticket or something, and the girl who responded was so nice he felt bad after.
No.
Yeah.
Oops.
I can understand as like people get frustrated. Of course, like always remember you're still talking to a human being, even though like they might be holding your keyboard hostage, which we don't. I mean, that's how some people feel.
All right, yeah.
But always like you're talking to a human being. We're really trying our best. So try to keep that in mind, but then we also understand that people might get frustrated, especially when they feel like, oh, the keyboard gets delayed, or I don't know what's going on and I don't get an answer.
Yeah.
Like we get that, but try to be nice. That's
Yeah, we generally, I feel I can't say like every time, right? Because you just can't make sure that every time it is always comes to a good ending. But I feel in general that we're a bit more generous with making sure that you get what you need and solve problems that are presented. But right now we're just doing that very slow. And we can still do a lot better when it comes to replacement items and the speed of fulfilling those and that kind of stuff. Yep. Technical issues are always tricky, but I feel that we at least work towards real solutions. Whereas I think with a lot of other companies, they'll just kind of shove it under the user's problem, unless as soon as it's outside the 30-day, right?
Yeah. I think the level of service we're trying to offer is just really high, and especially when we get a lot of tickets, that also makes it quite easy to get overwhelmed. But then instead of trying to lowering that service, we're just trying to get more people to help at a high service quality. That's at least the goal now. But it takes some time to build up.
Yeah, and also make it better than before, right? We have quite some plans there, but
even
more people.
This week, need more people. Yeah, but even this week we launched better status indication on the hub. We're also working now on that you can go to the hub and kind of see like what tickets you have open and closed, and kind of read the responses back there, just to kind of give you more insight into. So if you send us an email, let's say a few days ago, and then you're like, wait, have they received this? Is this gonna get an answer? Then you can just go to the hub and you can still see like, hey, this ticket's still open. Don't worry, we're gonna come back to you. yeah, just trying to improve the information there.
Yeah.
A lot of questions. Let me just very quickly recap the module because there's a lot of questions about it. So the modules basically are a lot of people when they have the 60. For the 60HE, of course, one of the great things is that you can customize it. Like you can use your own keycaps. You can it's compatible with the standard 6% case, so you can use a different case as well, cable. And the module is kind of like for all those people that wanted, like, hey, I want to get the 60, but I already have a case, or I want to get the 60, or I already have the keycaps. That you can kind of just get the. It's not really the bare minimum, but then let's say a good minimum. So that means just think a 60HE, but then take away the case, the keycaps, and the switches. And then you can either choose to get some Wooting stuff, like you can buy the module together with the Wooting keycaps, Wooting switches, and aluminum case for a very good bundle price. Or you can say, well, I already have a case, I already have keycaps, maybe I already even have switches from an old 2HE or whatever. Then you can just get the module, you get only the plate, the switch plate and the PCB, and then you're done. So that's the module. And just to recap the release date, we haven't really publicly announced it, but then we did kind of say like end of October. But again, because of customer service, just taking up a lot of time, I really want to make sure that everybody gets an answer to their questions. We're gonna push it back about 2 weeks, so expect like sort of like early half November release for the module. And then I saw one more question, somebody asking, would you recommend buying the 6HE now and upgrading later or waiting for the module? And I would say that's very dependent on what you want to do. Like if you, let's say you already have an aluminum case or you want to buy an aluminum case as well, and you think like, hey, I want to make like the ultimate custom keyboard, then wait for the module. But if you think like, oh, aluminum case is too expensive for me anyway, then I would just get the normal 6HE. Like you're still gonna have a great experience.
Yes. There's this thing coming up about the sound test for LMA 60. So it is my keyboard is already, I already lubricated and everything. I have it in my set. I can let you hear. I'm still gonna work with the microphone I'm using right now, but I can try. You can listen. But Sundler is actually working on the sound test video for the LMA 60.
Yeah.
But also because what was mentioned earlier, we now are prioritizing tickets and customer service. So Sundler's also on this in this part, and it also kind of changed which video are we going to edit first and release first. So the LMA 60 video has to wait, unfortunately a little bit longer.
Yeah.
There's also this thing, and now I completely forgot. I should have started on this today. We have some LMA 60s here boxed and ready, and because I also received the switches that can now go out to different reviewers. We're going to send one to Batsy Tech, that's for sure. And I haven't really lined up the other ones, so that is kind of I'm really behind on this. But I'm going to make sure Batsy Tech has the whole thing, so he can make a video as soon as he can. And switches, when I say switches, it's just the L45 switches. It's just with all the switches, we have a little bit of a drama. In short, if you go to the store now, there's no switches in stock anymore. We took them off stock because we were noticing that the defect rate was higher than what we were expecting or what was told to us for the switches we had in stock. So I was not really happy with that, and we decided to take them all out. And have the manufacturer produce a whole new batch, which is Gatron in this case, and then send it over. And meanwhile, we also have a big PO or a big purchase order open with a lot more sets, and that's also the one we were most concerned about. If we have this same problem with this huge purchase order, that would be that would be a really big problem. So that's why we were also we were scrutinizing the switches a lot. So as soon as we're getting emails in, and what was on Discord also about people noticing some issues or some defects with some of the switches, some affected more than others, this became a big thing with Gatron, and we really scrutinized it more and found out can't say we found out the 100% the core issue. We did find a most probable issue, which is causing this defect. And to be honest, Gatron has, been cooperative in the sense of working with us to, now sending. Well, we said basically we're going to send these switches back. You have to make new ones, and they're cooperative, saying like, okay, we're going to make new switches for you, and we don't need to pay for them. So that's good. And they've been cooperative in making, we bring this issue up, and they, try to find out why is it happening, and they've also changed. Where with every production, they let it go through an extra QC process to make sure the defects are out. So in that way, they were cooperative, but at the same time, they're making a bit of a mess of things. And it kind of starts with they make changes to the mold without informing us clearly. That's something that was in the issue in the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
And those changes, those are the kind of change that can maybe cause a defect, right?
Yeah.
So that was a bit of a drama. That was something we chased in the beginning of this year and got fixed, but it has a huge impact on our productions because they basically have to keep producing switches every day. Otherwise, they can't meet our production schedule.
Yeah.
Now, okay, we set up. Oh my gosh, we set up a whole new SOP to make sure that any change they make, they have to report it to us, and they need to go through approval.
Yeah.
But then they send over switches that they changed for approval. And after inspection, we can find out there are more changes than they have shared with us on the switch, which is also not good.
Yeah, it's also surprising, like how many little things you can change about a switch, and how much of an impact those things have. Yeah. But I feel like the main sort of annoying and irritating thing is that we figure out that they have changed things by customers going like, hey, this doesn't feel the same, and then you're like, wait, what happened? And then they need to be a lot more proactive, and like, okay, if they change something, then they should let us know first before they just give us a new batch with like changes in their molds, and they just don't tell us about it.
So when we talk about changes and how small these changes are, there is, for example, on the bottom of the switch, you look in the opening. You have to be in sunlight and look very closely. You'll see that there is a very short rib on each, like a north, east, west, south side, like 4 different ribs, and it's very, very small. It's been there since the beginning, but over time they've kind of raised the height of the rib by 0.00 something millimeter. So very, 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 very minor. Almost impossible to spot, but definitely not the main cause, but definitely partially a cause for a higher defect rate. And it's those kind of minor changes. So it's no kind of change in like, the switch like literally changed in some way.
No.
For consumer experience wise, it's really about minute changes that influence yield rates on the switch.
But are these? Do you know like these changes? Like, what is do we have any insight on like what the reason is? Is it very like production focused, where it's like, oh, with this rib being as tiny as it was before, like we had some problem with like, the injection, plastic injection, or those kind of things, or?
Yeah, so I've got 2 motivations. The first one was already about that they made certain change so the yield rate is better.
Right. Yeah, that's what I would expect. Yeah.
Yeah. For example, on the stem, the original stem, you have like a big triangle shape sticking out.
Mm-hmm.
But then in mass production, and we're talking about these get produced in the millions, right? So a 0.1% defect, right, is huge over millions. So at production, that big triangle would make it that it wouldn't drop nicely out of the mold, which could make it deform slightly, for example. So they changed the triangle with some of the ribs. The idea is that it will help with also ejecting from the mold better, but also to help decrease wobbling of the stem. But
that's also the tricky thing, right? With that, because we see a lot about that sort of wobble as well. And I see somebody saying, "Oh, 45 cents time, do you mean defect rate? Does it mean the switches are dying?" No, they're not dying. It's more like what's been happening is that there's just been like iterations on the switch, And for example, like basically if you want to decrease the wobble, you need to tighten your tolerances. But then if you push that too far, you kind of get like more like a scratchy feeling, or you could potentially get more like a scratchy feeling. And that's also something that some people have experienced in some switch batches. And I say some people in some switch batches because that's also what it is. Like they reported 1% or 2% or something like that.
Less than 1%. So
Less than
supply
1%.
reported
That's what
to
they
be.
said.
Yeah.
I mean, not 100% sure if we can take a full word on it, but then from our experience, that seems like, because you don't know, like not everybody maybe either notices or let us know, right? But then there were enough people, especially on Discord, that we did take it very seriously, and we're like, no, this is not okay. But then if you use the key, especially if you use like an earlier batch, or if you haven't really experienced any issues, then there's also no reason to believe that you would.
Yeah. So we wanted to make sure that or we would just have our new batch run of switches in stock, so that if somebody runs into any kind of defect, we know for sure when we send out a new switch pack, there's no problem.
Yes, yeah,
that's what's also the reason why it's not out of stock, and we're discarding that whole stock basically, and then we're getting it back in, and then we can make sure that if anybody still has any type of defect, we know 100% for sure these switches will not have the same problem.
Yep. All right. I just love the 6AC. I can't afford to get a part-time job. I mean, maybe you can answer some tickets. Maybe we should have like customer service, like answer 2,000 tickets for a free 6AC. That's a joke. Take us up on that. That's something we cannot do.
Just also, somebody says here 1% on normal full-size keyboard where switches are soldered would be a deal breaker. I mean, even the keyboard not being soldered, having anything that's close to where you mention any kind of 1% is a deal breaker when you're making millions of them and not hundreds.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and also like, especially if it's a key like you use very often. I mean, you could switch it, but then it's like if you buy a keyboard, you just should have that every switch works. Sure. If you get a 6AC or 2AC, like you just want every switch to feel like at least there's always going to be some variations, right? Not there's always some variation in the spring or.
Een beetje zacht, ja.
Your microphone is still on mute, by the way. I'm not sure if that matters.
Yeah, it's okay.
But then, if you feel like some sort of like scratchy thing, that's just never good.
You made Rapid Trigger. I finally found that you made Rapid Trigger for the old Wooting Kickstarter project keyboard. Yeah, the Wooting 1 and Wooting 2.
Yes.
FlareTech switches. So there's available for firmware. However, Rapid Trigger is forced on all keys. Was it supposed to be custom keys? Right. So for the Wooting 1 and Wooting 2 FlareTech switch keyboards, we implemented Rapid Trigger as well, but we had to make a lot of limitations to how it was implemented because of the hardware and the limitation of the switch itself. So it's on all the keys, and there's bigger steps for Rapid Trigger than you would have on the Lekker switch, and that's simply because the MCU can't deal with it has a limitation how much memory it can hold, and it can't deal with that many individual keys having their own settings. That would take too much space. And then the FlareTech switches just have a limited range, and they're not as accurate as the Lekker switches are.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is definitely an example of where we try to implement as much as we can, all the new stuff. What is it called? And make it backwards compatible with our older keyboards. But we've now, I think, fully milked out the Wooting 1 and Wooting 2 FlareTech switch keyboards. We can't push it any further. It's really now gotten to an end of how much we can do with it. So.
Yeah. Yeah, and we still actually, like, I know that when Simon makes stuff for the utility, like the recent release we're working on, he also checks the Wooting 1 and 2 as well. Like, that's part of his...
it's like with the RGB update, for example.
Wait, is the RGB effects update going to be
I don't know.
That's a good question.
Not sure, actually.
Yeah. I feel like in general, like, we don't make any promises for what we do for Wooting 1 and 2, but we do kind of keep them included in in our development flow, let's say, so that if there's like small changes that we can, small improvements we could do, or like small bug fixes we can do, and that can still apply there, then we can just apply it.
Oh wow, Flaretech has the RGB effect update. It just
Ayo,
doesn't have layering.
let's
Oh
go.
yeah.
Does it also have the better timing and stuff?
Yeah.
Like the whole like setting the speed per second, because that also requires some timers. I don't know if, yeah.
I assume.
Is there
I
any
assume
plan?
not.
Hey, Calder, this is a question for you. Is there any plan to make a white wrist rest for Wooting?
Oh, wait.
Hey, whoa!
Oh!
Damn! What customer service?
What?
Oh.
It took a.
Anybody want to request any other colors? I recommend pink. Maybe.
Is somebody requesting what pink?
Oh,
Oh!
whoa! Somebody requested
Whoa.
pink. Damn.
We used to have concrete gray actually. We don't have that one now anymore.
No.
Yeah.
Gonna get color right.
Now with LMA 60 maybe. No, but what we're trying to do, what we've now learned with releasing LMA 60 and the cold cables, is that we need to be a bit more strict and with our not strict, a bit more, how would you call this? We have to be a bit smarter with how we do our colors.
Yeah.
Because we've now made enough products and done a few more colors where there's some kind of synergy happening, right?
Hmm.
And we need to make sure now that we have these standard colors that we in every product we release, or at least if we add colors, we need to cover some standard colors first. And one of the obvious ones, well, there's always a black, right? Then there needs to be always a white as well. So that's also something we're always going to try to cover. And right now we're trying to get more pink in the line as well, to have the pink color in there. And then when it comes to the blue and the purple, that is still questionable. But we do have the cold cable, blue cold cable, and the purple cold cable coming up.
The white one. Did you say white cold cable? Did you just say that?
Also white, yeah. So white also, of course. So cold cable, we're going to have ocean blue one. We're going to have the lavender purple one. We're going to have a just white cable, and we're going to have a what we're going to call blossom pink.
That's a lot of skills, Calder.
Oh my god. No! I hate skews. We're also going to have we're also going to have a pink for the LMA 60. I'm gonna have samples in maybe a week or so. Don't know what it's gonna look like yet. Then take control keycaps, by the way. We took note of all the feedback, but take control keycaps are also working on colors. Oh my gosh, for take control keycaps, we are also working. I'm not sure what we're gonna release completely, right? But we are working on a blue version, a pink version, black-white version, and the lavender purple one. Yes. Mm-hmm. So in that way, we also have those colors in the take control keycaps. So then you have case, cable, keycaps. What am I missing here?
Wrist
vest. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
but with wrist vest right now, it's just limited to black, white, and we'll have pink. And not the other colors for now, but that would be it would be an option. But in general, when you look at it will really depend on which colors sell. In short, is what it comes down to.
Somebody says
because it definitely needs to hit some kind of quantity sales.
Good.
Yeah, black. Yeah. And then two colors we will always try to keep in stock. Then is going to be our black lineup and white lineup. But the other colors are all dependent on how much it moves.
Yeah. Daryl says I'm still rocking the Wooting 2 with the OG Jeroen wrist rest. Ayo. GG Darren. GG Daryl. I should say, oh my god, I did it. Ah. Hey Daryl, good luck at the new job, huh? Where's
neon green
Wooting
or
high
blood red?
sucks.
Yellow stripes and green stars, please. Oh my gosh, what?
What?
Yeah. But yeah, we're gonna do a better job with the colors. So working on it.
Yep.
On it. Yeah. Also,
Yeah.
and there's also
More colors?
yeah. Okay. No.
What?
Okay. Yeah. There's
No?
yeah.
Yes?
No, it's okay.
Okay. Okay. I don't
Uh,
know.
yeah. No. And somebody was already also asking because we're talking about RGB stuff about if we're planning to add more RGB effects. You'll be happily surprised that the next public release already, right?
Coming Monday.
Yeah, the next public release, which is next Monday, is going to include a whole bunch of new
RGB.
special effects, RGB effects,
Yep.
and also RGB layering because that was not in there yet,
RGB
right?
effect
No.
layering, yeah. So you
Yeah,
can have
RGB
like,
effects. Yeah, but new RGB effects and RGB layering, right? So you can do.
Well, actually, I would say there's no like all the RGB effects are kind of revamped, let's say, like kind of relooked at, so kind of improve.
Okay, right.
With some
Well, for
like
ooh,
nice
for ooh,
improvements here
it's
and
gonna
there.
have all that.
Always new,
Some new
that's
effects.
true.
Yeah.
But then the main thing is that you can configure more things. Like you can make so before, for example, with the wave effect, like we had the speed setting, but you could only change between 3 speeds, like a sort of a slow, medium, fast. But then slow was never really slow, and fast was never really fast. Well, fast was pretty fast, I think. Anyway, but then now you just have a slider, and you can literally change like, hey, how long should it take to complete one wave? And you can set that in seconds, and you can do 1 second, so that's really fast, up to 20 seconds, which is really slow. And personally, I have it set to very slow because then it just kind of feels like you have a relaxing color change on your desk, which I really like. So that's a big change. And of course, like you can layer, and now you can layer the effects as well. So you can have that sort of like slow changing effect, but then you can also do like a trail that where you type, it kind of fades in a different color, for example. So that's pretty sweet.
I'm using the trail right now.
Yeah.
With like a 2-second fade.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think like I don't know if it's for trail, but then for trail and some other effects, like we also have more like an inverted option, whereas like before it would light up when you press it, but then now it would wait. Then what I need to think. So the keyboard. So imagine the keyboard has no light, and then you press it, and then it lights up, and it gets dark again. But now we also have the other way around, where it's like your keyboard's all light, and you press it, it goes dark, and then it brightens up again. So it's kind of like an inverted effect, and we're also trying to because like we've had pretty good feedback on that, and we also like it as well. We're also pushing that to more effects, but I think it starts with trail and then maybe ripple, but then kind of pushing it here maybe.
Yeah, and then of course you have the layering, so you can choose the base layer, right? And the base layer can be a static color, it can be a wave, or
cycle.
What's the third one again?
Yeah, where it just changes.
Cycle. It can cycle through colors.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's called a base layer because that means that's kind of like your background RGB light thing that's happening, right?
Yeah.
And then on top of it, you can layer effects, and most of those effects are interactive effects. So whereas you were just talking about chill, when you press a key, it lights up and then it slowly fades out, right? That's an interactive effect.
Yeah.
And you can have multiple interactive effects on top of each other, interacting, and it can get pretty insane if you do a lot of them.
Crazy, yeah.
Yeah. And I think if we look at the interface, well, there's a lot of RGB interfaces from a lot of other keyboard manufacturers, and they've gone pretty deep and expansive, right? And you can do quite a lot, and those are already pretty good. But I do feel that how we've now implemented it is way much more convenient. It feels way much more accessible to just quickly throw some stuff on there and see what happens, and not feel like it's a really big bother to kind of like change and try something else.
Yeah.
And I think that is very, very nice. Yeah. So it's
really
a lot more fun to play around with.
Yeah. It's been a really cool update. Also with and yeah, I mean, if we talk about utility updates as well, anyway, another big thing that we made huge improvements to is the sort of like the launch and setup experience, especially for utility web, where where it confused quite a lot of people, where it's like, okay, they launched the utility and then you kind of need to do some browser stuff to connect it with the keyboard. And now we have like a very nice flow where you just open utility and then it gives you like a step-by-step, of course, like the minimum steps. So it's really quick. Do a little run through of beta utility. Sure, why not? Let me check if that actually. Yeah. Oh
Let
no,
me
I cannot
help.
do that because
I need to screen
I
share
need to set
stuff,
up.
and there's no setup for it right now.
Yeah, I have this other scene that has the browser, but then we didn't set it up because like the whole synchronization of the scenes didn't work, so I can't do that yet. I can't do that. But
We're getting close to an hour anyway, so there's no time anyway.
okay, let's just do
Yeah.
some questions a minute because I saw some ones that I really want to get to. So Kenneth has asked, I'm about to buy a Wooting, but I have questions. Is the Wooting one that had a major switch upgrade on the 60T? Is there a chance of having a very big change for the next Wooting? Not in that same line, I would say. Not anything that,
But I,
how to say, that it's not like, not a change like that. Of course, there's going to be improvements, right, to what we do now. But I would say it's not like that. Where it's like, so for example, if you get a, let me say, you'll be able to continue to use the same lacquer switches. Let me just say it like that. Can't really say much about like what's actually coming up, but it's not like a complete core technology change like the FlareTech to lacquer was.
yeah, and I would recommend if you're waiting anyway, you might as well wait for the module launch because yeah, what are a few months going to be? And then with the module, then you know for sure you have the latest.
Yeah. There's a lot of TKO questions.
Let's do some quick layout questions just to kill them off immediately.
Yeah.
So yeah. we are working on a new layout. We can't share what the layout is other than it being between a 60% and 100%. We obviously listen very carefully to what the feedback is and what people want, but we always have a bit of a twist of our own of how we like to see things a bit better. Does that mean I can already give a couple of tips for layouts that you cannot expect soon, like a gamepad size keyboard of let's say 20 keys, that being the question there. There is definitely a demand for a gamepad size keyboard or some kind of gamepad, but it's we need to cover our basics first, and we haven't covered all our basics before we go into these niches. Doesn't mean that we're not doing any other niches now that I think of it, but just not the gamepad for now, at least. Let's see. Then about maybe full. Was any kind of a question of a full size? No, right? No.
Yeah, there was a question about Wooting 2. If we can expect a Wooting 2HE case? No, not really, because like the keyboard design, we kind of feel like it doesn't. It's not really in line with like our modern designs. So we'll also be phasing it out at one point. But it also means that we won't actively make new products for it. Like, of course, like it will still be compatible with lacquer switch, those kind of things if you have the 2HE. But don't expect any kind of like special cases for it.
Yeah. And just to clarify that even more is that we never made the Wooting 2HE with the idea that it could be swapped into different cases.
Point,
yeah, and that also makes it very difficult for us to start making a case for it now. And then if we do make a case, we're kind of we very much depend on the total demand for that keyboard and also for multiple years forward for that same model, and it's not going to be compatible with any of our other keyboards or any other kind of thing that we would do, and that makes it even more difficult. So it takes a lot of time also to make that kind of case, especially for how the Wooting 2HE is built.
Yeah.
But there is somebody on Reddit that is actually making a custom case for the Wooting 2HE. Yeah, and we are providing him as much as we can with files that he can use to make it easier to make any kind of case. So maybe he'll have something.
Yeah, let me see if I can quickly find the thread.
Not just a dude. Apparently, they're a whole machining company based in Germany.
Right.
Yeah. Well, so that whole machine company based in Germany is planning to do it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind to also take a look if we can do something with them together at some point, if they are actually interested in manufacturing more of this.
Yeah, that would be really good. Yeah. I can't really find that thread right now, but then.
You know what I'm also a little bit scared of is if we would have planned to do a Wooting 2HE aluminum case, I know for sure I'm gonna just get stuck with things that I just want to see to do a bit better with the case and not be like, Let's just quickly make a case, like the same case, but then aluminum, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, but for
I can't
that,
help
for
myself.
that one, we
Stay
really
away
just
from
need to
it.
make a new full size.
Yeah.
But that's a whole different project. There was, oh yeah, there was this question. Have you heard of any issue with the UPAD where the keys won't deactivate after being released? I've had it happen to me a lot. I think we have. I mean, there's definitely some like things when it comes to key pressing, and then that we're working on improving. But then that particular issue, I'm not sure if we'll also cover. I'm not sure if Simon is still here. Maybe he can answer that. But then do expect more updates when it comes to key scanning stability. Let me just say that, and hopefully that will also resolve this issue. But also feel free to just ask, maybe open a thread about it on Discord to be sure that that we can get back to you.
Yeah. I haven't seen it for the U. I've seen one 60.
No. Yeah,
but then
exactly.
Very slight,
Yeah.
very slight press. Yeah. It's gonna have to be something similar.
Yeah, Laura, I also recommend to just open like a support thread on Discord just to have it, and if you can capture it or give some more information on when it happens, that's always very useful.
Here's a related question.
Yeah.
Can I ask what's the meaning of analog stability might be affected if I turn on tachyon mode? What it basically means is when we're reading the key, we're reading a certain voltage amount, and that voltage amount keeps jumping up and down. And the amount it jumps up and down can be very small or it can be very big. And then at the very start of the press, those jumps are very, very small. So if we need to determine you're pressing the key, we need to determine that based on very, very small jumps being made when you're pressing down the key. Versus while you're pressing more towards the end of the key, the jumps are much bigger. So regardless of how that signal is jumping up and down, those big steps make it very clear you're actually intentionally pressing or releasing the key. And when you turn on tachyon mode, it makes it that those little jumps become a bit bigger. And that kind of blurs out the resolution on which how precise we can see or scan the key in that beginning area specifically, and also further down the line. But it affects the press. It affects the key less further down the line because those jumps are just much bigger when it comes to making steps from pressing down the key. If that makes sense. So, in other words, the resolution of how well can we see what the position of the key is becomes a little bit less, and therefore where it's harder. Therefore, it could be that you think you're pressing 0.4 millimeter, but actually you're pressing 0.6 millimeter.
Yeah, so it's kind of a trade-off between accuracy and speed. Let's say we're tachyon mode really prioritize speed. Well, would you make color matching cables for the automated cases? Well, yeah. Got us a bit earlier to talk about that, but the short answer is yes. A lot of color stuff coming up. Calder's mic is going nuts. That's weird. I can hear you just fine, but then that might be some collab cam thing.
Streamlabs, maybe, yeah. Maybe it's the Streamlabs with the black channel thing, just not really.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, are getting close. Let's do some last.
Mr. Uck already made a list there.
Okay, nice.
All right, and Spooky has the best question. I haven't heard that one for a long time.
What?
Will Wooting make gaming chairs?
I'm sitting on a Wooting gaming chair right now. Let me show it to you. It's a very advanced gaming chair. Look, it can fold. Whoa, whoa, that's gaming. Look at that. One more time.
The ergonomics.
That's gaming. The ergonomics. That's how you do it.
Save space at the same time.
Save space, exactly. No.
So the answer there is that we don't believe in gaming chairs. We just believe in very good chairs, and just buy a good chair in general. Don't buy a gaming chair.
Yes.
Yeah, and we'll. It's very unlikely that anytime in the near future we'll be making any gaming chair. Only if we feel like that there's a very strong need for somebody to bring some sense to making an actually good
Yeah.
ergonomic chair for
I'll never forget,
gamers.
Calder. Like we went to Computex a few years ago, and there are some companies, and I'm not gonna name names. They were just laughing at how much they were earning on gaming chairs because the mock-up is just
Oh my
insane.
god.
And like,
Yeah.
oh, all these people buying gaming chairs, we can earn so
Yeah.
much money. What a bunch of
Earning so
idiots.
much. Yeah. They flip
This is
the,
literally true,
you
by
know,
the way.
the,
This is not even like
yeah,
overdoing it or anything. That's literally like what they
no,
said. Yeah, it's
they
insane.
are flipping the gaming chairs. I forgot the exact.
Oh, Calder moved. Calder, where did you go? Hey,
Am I
you're
back
back.
again?
Yeah, you're back.
I don't know why. I don't know why, but I was just saying that a lot of these gaming chair manufacturers, they flip the gaming chair for like 3 or 4 times the cost,
Yeah, it's
at
insane.
least. And then
Yeah,
and it's very unusual when you sell something that is in the hundreds of euros or dollars.
yeah,
They're earning really fat profits on it. So
yeah. It's also kind of crazy that like they were able to keep the prices high for so long because this whole gaming chairs has been a meme for a few years already,
yeah,
and
true.
still they're very expensive for no
Yeah,
real reason except for that they can just ask. Like I think like the people are just kind of used to paying that amount for a good gaming chair, and it's like oh okay please just go to IKEA and get the fucking what is it called again? The classic Herman or whatever chair. What keeps happening, Colin? Is that you or is it just Streamlabs?
I don't know. Maybe it's my internet,
Uh,
or either one of the two. I don't think something's wrong with my internet because I can still see chat going on. So I don't know.
what's your
Yeah.
cables? Oh yeah.
The only thing I can imagine if, what make why these gaming chairs also why they're able to flip it so much is because you have so many manufacturers to just standardized a lot of how it's produced and you use relatively cheap materials and you just deck out the outside a bit more.
Yeah.
Makes it look a little bit more premium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess you know what's also a thing with the chair is like because it's pretty big, and like most people their
Right.
chair is so shit. So it's like, well, it feels like a major upgrade, right? Like let's say I would upgrade to a gaming chair because my chair obviously is not the most comfortable one. Then we feel like, wow, this is worth so much money. But then yeah, when you really dig down to how good it actually is or how much it actually costs, it's just such a ripoff.
It is. Yeah.
Oh, and their
And
garbage after one
and
year, they get nasty as well. That's also
yeah.
something that
Yeah, and let's not forget that most of the time these gaming chairs are like I don't it's a lot less now, but it's like those racing chair things, right?
oh yeah.
Yeah. That's the
Yeah.
worst. Yeah.
Oh, you know what's also why gaming chairs are also so
Ergonomic.
good for companies is that when people are streaming, you always see the logo in the head
Oh,
in the
right.
headrest. I was recently watching. What was I watching? I think it was like even some DJ or some musician or something, and he was sitting on the razor chair, and it's just very recognizable because it's like okay, you see the chair, you see the headrest, you see the logo, right? So I think that's also
Right.
why like it's such an important thing for gaming companies. Just like how headsets are really good for branding on stream and keyboards not so much because you don't not always see a
Yeah.
keyboard.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, time to make chairs then.
Oh shit. We should make
We
a
can
chair
also
that
add.
has like a massive like headrest like this that kind of goes all around.
Yeah. Yeah.
And oh,
Uh,
Calder, you do the headrest, you do it all the way like this, and then you put the Wooting logo here, and it looks like you're wearing a crown.
I mean, but at that point, you might just make the headband,
That's true. That's
as a
true.
crown.
Oh, yeah.
I
That'd be
know the chair
sick.
can be like the rectangular shape, and
Yeah.
then the headband is like the W shape.
Wow, great product ideas. Only on stream.
Nice.
Oh. Yeah, is that the Muji pen? Yes.
Good.
These
We can
pants are sick. These pants are the best pants.
maybe to answer also immediately about if there's going to be a Wooting mouse, and I think I think in general what you can expect from us right now, for now, is that we're very focused on keyboards. We want to be, no, we are right now, but we want to stay the best in gaming keyboards and what we do. And what we're doing right now is still at the forefront. And we want to stay there as much as we can. And only once that market becomes much more saturated and we can't find more ways, or the team is so much bigger, we have more capacity, will we really start to expand into other type of peripherals. That is the general
Yeah.
direction that we're taking. Because keyboards, there's still so much we can do, and we do have to dedicate our time to. We do have to dedicate a lot of time also to a project. So it's not something we can just easily do multiple projects at the same time.
Yeah.
And that's also because every product that we make it from scratch. We don't go to a vendor. Well, not every one of them, by the way. Like the lube and toolkit, that's a little bit different. That is like using existing products, putting it together as one.
Yeah.
But let's say most of our products, we build it from scratch, and that takes a lot of time. While a lot of other vendors, they might want to expand into mice, for example. They just go to vendor A, B, C, or D.
Yeah.
At best, they send a drawing and they'll make it for them, or
Yeah.
they just slap a logo on and that's it. But
Yeah.
we really don't like that.
I told this, I think earlier this week or maybe last week or so, where it's like we get so many emails from like Chinese factories that go like, oh yeah, get this mouse. You can buy this mouse for cheap or buy this keyboard for cheap. And I'm still kind of waiting for the day that they go like, yeah, you can buy this rapid trigger for keyboard for cheap. This rapid trigger keyboard. Your customers will love it.
Yeah, the emails from Chinese manufacturers with their catalogs.
A lot of stuff. Yeah.
With how cheap it's to make different products you can make with them. Yeah, these ODM products.
Yes.
Yeah. Can you do a budget keyboard 1mm activation point? Yeah, so kind of understand that you'd say like, hey, can't you make a budget version and just like limit certain features in that way? But if we want to do 1mm activation point, I don't think we'd either need to find a really shitty hole sensor, but we probably don't want to do different kind of hole sensors. But it's not the kind of stuff that would make it budget immediately.
No.
Really have to look at, we would have to change. There's a lot of bits and parts are on the hardware side, but a lot of the value that we create is also on the software side. And then the question is like, how much is hardware limiting also the software side of things? And that might create a certain value. But in general, we're just much more focused on how can we make a premium, maybe not premium, but high-end product, just using the best we can find.
Yeah.
But obviously not in the level of some luxury products. And I'm thinking like, what's the mouse called again? M1K, right?
Yeah.
From
Saucony,
yeah. So not like in the let's say extremes in that luxury area, but definitely in the premium area.
Yeah, and there's also like sacrifice. Like if you're talking about budget models, like it's also like what sacrifice do you want to make? Because like what some keyboards have also done is to just have like analog keys on like some keys of the keyboard, and then just use normal switches on other keys. Where it's like, oh, people are probably not going to care about this, and these kind of compromises, they just really suck. To make.
They really suck. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it also complicates things for us operationally, because if you start to make that assortment too wide in what kind of variations or levels of a certain hardware you can get, that means that on a production level, we need to keep now into account a lot of different parts.
Yeah.
And it decreases the volume per part, which decreases our purchasing power and cost for that part.
True.
So we just generally prefer to just focus on a limited amount of parts, and just buy that in as much volume as we can.
Yeah. We really get things like no RGB, for example, which is what we did for UL. Because for UL, there's also some things we could also save on, like the light bar, like the light bars, for example. That also helped a lot. But then to go like full no RGB on like a full keyboard, that's still a bit of a stretch. I always
in the skill of, let's say, in the skill of costs for the keyboard, removing the RGB doesn't save that much cost that it becomes worth a discount that an end user is expecting.
Yeah, that's also,
you know what I mean?
That's true. Yeah.
So if we're selling a keyboard now $175, and you're like, well, remove the RGB, shave off $40, that's not where the cost is. That's not where the cost is coming from.
No. Yeah, because people would expect like, oh, then I can buy it for 110 or 120. That's just not the case. That's
Yeah.
just not how the yeah.
For most products, a lot of the cost just already comes from the simple logistics of things. And with a keyboard product in this case, there's a lot of software involved and after service as well. And there is a lot of hidden cost there, which is just not as simple as just a product cost. And then when we think about product cost, you need to think about also in skill. So if you're doing a large skill, like we're doing a lot of volume, and then if you save 50 cents on a product, that saves a lot of cost, saves a big budget, and that budget can then be awarded to doing more customer service, for example, or having another developer on board, working full time, for example. Yeah, so these little cost savings can scale up very big, which can be then awarded towards or designated towards different things that can make the product better, can make the service better. And that's why it's not as simple as saying I save $1 on the product. It means like not as simple as saying I can save like $10 on the product cost or something. Yeah.
Somebody says, doesn't the 60HC already cost under $200? That is a fascinating observation, right? It's like kind of saying like, because like the prices of keyboards have increased so much over time, where it's like just keeping it below 200 like is already like a good excuse me, a bit too loud. It's already sort of like, I mean, I wouldn't say it's like budget under 200, but then it's kind of interesting how that kind of shifts.
From China, then send back to.
No, from us, that's collab and Muji. Oh, that would be sick. Yes.
Here's okay. So we need to do some last ones, but here's one that I find interesting: is can Wooting considering send their keyboard from China? Because he's living in Thailand, instead of sending it to the Netherlands and then back to question, yeah. Thailand, for example. So that being in Asia. So we've gained a lot of popularity in China itself and also in Japan, and we're growing in Asia region more. And I'm actually actively working on getting a warehouse in Hong Kong, so we can do fulfillment for Asia from Hong Kong. But it's been a bit more challenging than I thought, because apparently shipping from Hong Kong to different Asian countries isn't that much cheaper than shipping from the Netherlands to different Asian countries.
Yeah.
Which is it's really stupid.
Yeah,
it's
that
insane.
was like blowing our mind, like how it's either like shipping from Hong Kong is surprisingly expensive, or shipping from the Netherlands is just so affordable, relatively, of course. Like I'm not saying $60 to Thailand is not, that's obviously a lot of money, but then we can't really. It's not as easy as like, oh, just ship from Asia and then you don't pay 60. It's like, that's not how it works. That's because even shipping from Hong Kong, it still needs to go. It still needs to fly there, and I guess like if you fly from Hong Kong to Thailand, or from Amsterdam, or wherever they fly from, maybe from Germany, like it's not going to make that big of a difference, price wise.
Well, apparently so. I mean, a lot of these shipments, they would also join commercial flights, for example.
Yeah.
Commercial flights from Hong Kong to neighboring countries is definitely cheaper than from Europe.
Yeah.
But it's I don't know. They're like, most of the fulfillment centers were just not able to give us better prices than our shipping rates in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
Which is really really stupid. Even if it's like Postal Network or something like that.
Yeah.
But I'm getting close to at least one fulfillment where it is slightly better, but it doesn't overall not better necessarily. But there's other huge benefit of Hong Kong is that we don't have the overseas shipping, which saves cost, but it also saves a lot of time, especially to the Netherlands.
Also about somebody asked if we would consider Singapore, and it's not like we wouldn't consider it, but like you said, Hong Kong also comes with the great benefits. Like, okay, you can overland ship the keyboards in bulk from the factory. And
I actually also talked with a fulfillment in Singapore. So Singapore has like a free trade zone, and you could do it from there. Mm-hmm. But their fees were also just very high, no better than Hong Kong. If their fees were better, I would have considered it. Yeah. But then Hong Kong, if it's about the same or more, of course, then Hong Kong is still better, because you mentioned, there's a road transport option.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're actively working on this, and over the long term, the only way to really make it more affordable and more easy accessible is doing local fulfillment, meaning
Yeah,
in the
exactly.
country itself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
but that
local,
is
yeah. And for a country like Thailand, that will most likely just be local resellers.
right. Yeah, that
Yeah.
is another route. Yeah, is working with resellers. So working with resellers is something that we're also planning to do at some point. We're working with just a few resellers. I think Roto Blocks in Philippines,
Yeah.
or Roto Box
Yeah,
in
something like that.
Philippines,
Yeah.
and
Robots.
Dr. Mouse in Brazil. Those are the only two we're officially trading with, let's say, for as resellers. And it's not that we're open for resellers right now or actively want to be selling with resellers right now, but they've been kind of our guinea pigs for testing things and things that we need to consider once we do open up to more resellers.
Yeah.
But then when we do open for resellers, there's this other thing is that we're very adamant that we want to stay as close as possible to the customer.
Yeah.
And we don't want the reseller to become all of a sudden a Wooting representative or something like that, or some kind of official distributor, and then is going to be our voice, or it's going to stock a lot of our products, and then we're going to get limited in how we can do a product release or how we can play around with pricing.
Big problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that would also be the same answer for like a reseller like Micro Center. Now think of it, Micro Center actually sent an email again, I think, but
yeah, but because also like with these resellers, we're really looking for just like small targeted resellers, and working with these big companies like Micro Center, like it sounds like it's a great thing because they buy so many keyboards, blah blah blah, but it also comes with a lot of downsides and a lot of overhead, and it's just stuff we don't want to deal with.
And in my opinion, the biggest downside is we'll get limited in our product release schedules and creativity. Yeah. Like right now, we can decide when we have completely in our own hands. When are we going to launch the module, right? We don't need to follow any promises to any reseller. We launch it when we're ready for it, right? We produce it when we want to produce it.
For better or for worse.
Yeah, for better or for worse.
No, but mostly for better.
We don't need to care how much stock there's still at Micro Center, right? We don't need to care about any kind of pricing that Micro Center might be doing because they can't get rid of the stock.
Development funds.
Yeah. So we rather keep the resellers part as limited as possible and do as much as we can direct. Yeah.
What is shipping in and out? I don't remember what I paid. Usually free for a keyboard at least, because we ship from the Netherlands.
So. Sent it to hand off if it's been a label correct. Yeah, so Mohan's issue, a little bit customer support here, but there's this thing with fulfillment centers now, especially in our US fulfillment center, it's been happening a bit more frequently, is where they create a label for your order, and that label is designated for your order. But I think in most cases, they never actually pick and pack the order and stick the label on. It's more that the label was printed out and created, and it's just waiting there to be sticked onto a box, which should have been your order, but it never did so. And otherwise what happens is it did get sticked on, but it just didn't get picked up by the carrier, and the carrier just forgot to scan it, for example, and it takes a few days before they actually scan it. Or sometimes even when they're close to delivery, suddenly it's scanned and it's delivered. And what happens in the first scenario is that after maybe 3 weeks or a month, suddenly the product comes back in stock as a return, and it's like, okay. And what happens with the latter one is that most often we might have already sent a new keyboard because it's been taking for so long, and we have some procedures there about how long we should be waiting. And then suddenly the original tracking updates as delivered, and customer has now 2 products.
Oh my god.
It's very, very annoying. Yeah.
Doesn't Mark have like this I think we should try to do something with this. I'm not sure how interesting it will be, but I know Mark is keeping some collection of like crazy tracking URL statuses, where it's like just some keyword getting dumped somewhere, or just some like, oh, this box is broken or something like that. That it says that on the status page, and you're just like, oh, what do I do with this? Like he has a whole collection of different ones. Oh, you have a whole library. Yeah, we should do something with that sometimes. I gotta laugh. It kind of sucks because like it's somebody waiting for their package. But this, I don't know what it is with these shipping providers sometimes. Like we've talked about this many times, where it's like they should be more professional and should be able to track everything better, but it just goes wrong very often, and it's also not always clear why.
I have a theory is that we do a lot of we do a lot of, I should not say we send out a lot of orders in one time when a batch comes in, right? And then we send it all to the fulfillment center.
Yeah.
And the fulfillment center is like, okay, we're gonna batch ship this or bulk ship this. What that usually means is that they're gonna grab a whole bunch of the same products, put it in one place. They're gonna grab a whole bunch of the packaging, put it in one place. They're gonna pre-print a lot of the labels.
Yeah.
And then they're gonna start like bulk packing things.
Yeah.
And in that kind of scenario, the chances of human error or people being lazy because they'll just skip something or they'll, get distracted is much higher. And then this kind of stuff happens more often or more frequently.
Yeah, true. Yeah, but then again, like we thought about it a minute, but then they should just be scanning stuff, like there's barcodes. There's barcodes and everything for reasons. It should never happen that that stuff gets missed from boxes or like these kind of things stuff, but yeah, it happens.
Yeah. I also don't understand how it can happen so widespread also. Yeah. Okay, let's
okay, we should wrap up.
Yeah. Get back to tickets. Could have done 50 tickets at least.
Yeah. You just have to demand it. Yeah, I mean, so there's two different things. There's like the general, like, let's say pre-order time, which is like, okay, we just cannot make enough keyboards. Although we're getting really close now. I think in the US, like delivery pre-order time is like a week or 10 days. For EU ISO, it's also very short. But then also like when the batches arrive and you get the message like, hey, your keyboard is about to ship, you want it to get to your house as soon as possible. And it's for them to get stuck for a week in some sort of weird fulfillment process like that's just really annoying. And even because if you, like with the pre-order period, you know what you sign up for, like, hey, if I get the keyboard now, I'm going to get it half November or whatever. But then when that half November comes, and starts to ship, you just want to get it, like you know, okay, half November, but then if it's stuck for a week, the fulfillment center, that's just annoying. So that's we're trying to fix it, but then it's can't always do it. Dit bericht van Wederwacht out door Wooting Toichi. Nice. Okay. Calder.
Okay.
Good stuff.
That's good stuff, yeah.
I think I'm happy with the switch to YouTube. I feel like there's a lot more kind of like people kind of jumping in and out, new faces mixed in with old faces. Yeah. Because I felt like with Twitch, like we just kind of had the same viewer group every time.
Yeah.
It seems to be more, what's the word? Discoverability is much better for YouTube.
Right. Well, we do a lot on YouTube, so this is very nice. That we also do live streams on YouTube, so I'm happy also with that. Yeah. Right. I think the VOD's safe. Yeah. So if I'm right with YouTube, that's also one of the reasons for YouTube. Yeah. Yep. Okie dokie. Then thank you everybody for joining.
Enjoy your weekend.
Yes.
We'll see each other next time. 2 weeks.